How are you, mate?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, you?
I'm going well, mate. Going well. What's been going on?
You've had a haircut. I got a state of
Fresh haircut. Fresh as I get. A couple of hours ago.
that. Brilliant. Love it.
How you shaped
Well,
up? How's your 2020s and that been going?
we won not last night, night before. That was a big game. Playing Lancs, who were top. So we're now at a point where we need to win every game, really. So that started with beating Lancs. Good team. Good team. It's really what we did well, which was what we haven't done consistently, is we had a plan and it looked really simple from the outside. We had a plan and we executed it, and that's it really.
Not
It wasn't
simple.
it wasn't muddled thinking. It was simplicity in flow. That's what it looked like from the outside, and that's what we talked about in the review actually. And I guess the question is always, how can you get into that kind of that high skill execution mode more often than not? The simple plans always work, mate. You might still get hit at the park, but in this age of detail and information, we can often miss the really simple and better option right in front of us. So
Yeah.
that's what we talked about pre-game, and that's what we executed. We got another game tonight, so big local derby down at Worcester. So we'll see how we go.
That's awesome, mate. Without giving away too much, what was like some of your plans you had yesterday? Like what was how simple was it and why'd you go for it?
Simple as in, okay, do we need, with the new ball, do we attack Phil Salt's outside half of his bat or the inside half of his bat? Where do we need, in the power play, where do we need our boundary fielders? Where is he going to be looking to hit a good length ball at the top of the stumps? And it was always going to be, because of the way he plays generally, on the leg side. So do we attack the inside or the outside half of the bat? If you get hit for boundaries, first 2 or 3 balls, you got hit for 12 or 3 balls, there is still an opportunity to grab that over back. So how are you going to close your overhang? Really simple stuff, really. If the ball is swinging, the way we're going to manage it is we're going to look after both sides of the ball to keep it newer for longer. Really simple stuff that we talk about all the time, but it's always interesting when the pressure is on. You often forget what has been working in the past. So really simple stuff. If I bowl my best ball, where does this batter historically look to hit a good length ball? How do I get out of my over? How can I move the field in order to make Phil Salt, Keaton Jennings play differently? Just simple stuff.
That's cool. Do you guys go in to like each 2020 game with sort of like field set, or like will the bowlers like write down their fields and that for each batter what they think? Like how in depth do the bowlers go for their prep for that?
So bowlers, we as a team talk together as a team. we get all the information from our analysts about our opponents. What the hot spots are, where the red zones are, and we've got a set of stumps and we've got kind of blocked off. If you bowl it in here, historically the strike rate against this batter is high. This is where your opportunities are. So it's red, amber, green sort of thing. But in terms of field settings, we know we have an idea where the hot spots are. We've got an idea against each batter where our jet fielders need to be. All you're really looking to do, where do they hit their boundaries and where can we keep them quiet? Because it's boundaries that win or lose T20 matches. There's a really simple stat. If you hit the most boundaries, hit more boundaries than your opponents, you've got something like an 80-odd% chance of winning the game. So how can we stop boundaries? How can we take wickets? But in terms of field settings, it does change depending on the bowler, depending on what their skills are, and they set their field accordingly. But we've got a bit of an idea on where are 2 or 3 really important fielders against each batter, and they talk about that in the middle. If they take a wicket, new batters walking out, and they discuss in the middle. This is okay. Just a reminder: this is where they're strong. This is where we can keep them quiet. Right now, this is the field. Let's go and do it.
Some of the best fielders in 2020, they cover so much distance. I was in Sydney with Toddy when he was playing for the Sixers, and we went out for a couple of beers after the game, and with Jordan Silk, who's like one of the best fielders in Australia, and he's like their hotspot fielder, and he reckons that he covers like over 10 Ks in a 2020 game, just left to right, sweeper to sweeper, high speed efforts. Like he leaves, like he's pretty much in the team as like a fielder, batting at 6 or 7, and he saves that many runs. He's an absolute freak.
Yeah, he's Silk's the one with the long neck, isn't he?
Yes, he is indeed. Yeah, he took that blinder. That went viral. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him take an absolutely amazing catch on the boundary, and I thought, "Blimey, look at that!" It's like I've not seen a neck like that before. It must help him when he's reaching out or diving laterally.
100%.
But on that point, one of the things I wanted to talk about or just cover today, I've titled it "The Invisible Cost of Fatigue on Skill Execution." So you're talking about Silk there. So in an hour and a quarter, let's say an hour and 17 minutes, because there's always a little bit of time added on in T20. Let's talk about fitness and skill execution. So we're in the middle of a really hectic part of the season, all right? And I think it's so easy to say, well, he's not executing his Yorkers at the moment because there was a long bus journey 2 days ago, not quite recovered. I think it's so easy to go down the line of, they're just tired. And I think it can be an excuse sometimes if we choose to go down there. How do you identify fatigue?
Well, good question, that one. I think first on that, I think it's a really good old saying in like S&C where it's like performance equals like skill minus fatigue. So obviously the more fatigued you are, the harder it is to execute your skills. And then obviously we got other components like your mindset and your mental skills and all that sort of stuff in there as well. I think monitoring fatigue is something there's obviously a couple of different ways we can look at it. Number one, I reckon, is like looking at it, listening to your own body. And whether it's like you do like a wellness questionnaire or something like that, every morning you ask yourself a question. All right, what are my energy levels like? How's my stress levels? How do I sleep? I'm sure, the Warwickshire guys do that every day or most days. I know like Cricket Victoria, Cricket Australia do that. I feel like that's a really, really good way just to be in tune with your body. And your body's pretty smart. Like you can tell when you're cooked a little bit. And then there's other metrics as well. Like you have a smartwatch, things like your heart rate variability, your resting heart rate, general stress levels, things like that is a nice way to sort of measure it. And then if you want to go like into the gym, you can do like jumps testing to assess readiness and things like that. So like if your vertical jump is down 5 centimeters from what it normally is, it's probably a good sign that you are fatigued. Grip strength is something too. Is a really easy one. If you get one of those handheld dynos and you grip it as hard as you can, and that's actually a really good sign, like really easy to use. And if that's down, typically means you're a little bit fatigued as well. So a lot of like subjective, objective ways, cheap, expensive. But I think when it comes down, like specifically when it comes to your environment, when it's like in tournament play, it's a reason why skills aren't, performed as well potentially. But it's not like your team is the only team that's fatigued. It's like at least everyone's in the same boat. So like I think you can perform no matter what. Obviously it's harder to perform under fatigue, but like, I've seen plenty of players go on and take fifers and make hundreds off no sleep or whatever, and when they're fatigued. So it does make it hard, and you want to try and monitor it, but it's not a be all end all. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, the reason I'm asking that question, and it's a really interesting one. We've got Andrew Armitage on here, good friend of mine, based in Finland. He's doing some amazing work with the Finland Cricket Association. All right.
Yeah, it's cool.
Now they are busy. They've got some ridiculous goals, like in the future, qualifying for World Cups and all this kind of stuff. I love it. Teams like that, and many other people are going to listen to this later on. I don't believe are aware of the signs of fatigue. So when we talk about bowling, I've got here, bowling is how they move, how they land, how they rotate, how they push towards the target, run up speeds, that kind of stuff. So these teams can often go away to tournaments where they're playing day after day after day after day. So what you've talked about there was the wellness questionnaire. I've got a question here about how can bowlers, let's say it's a 50 over competition, how can bowlers recover between spells? How important is it to change a shirt? All this kind of stuff. We have protocols so the players fill in their wellness. I love taking away the guesswork. So the smartwatch thing it takes away the guesswork, because if somebody is desperate to play, but they wake up with DOMS, they've had a restless night, they haven't taken their own pillow away with them, so they're in a different hotel, they haven't, the mattress isn't good, all this kind of stuff. But if a player really wants to play, then they'll put 10 out of 10 on their recovery and wellness and all this kind of stuff, right? What colour's your pee? Well, it's straw colour to unrecovered, when actually it's bright orange, so you're dehydrated as well. So I like taking the guesswork out. A lot of our guys now wear Whoop, and our S&C is part of that kind of, that they call it community, don't they, within the Whoop app. So I really like that. But when it comes down to what we are seeing from the other side of the boundary, not quite getting through the crease as quickly as normal. Front shoulder not rotating round as they would do if they were performing their best. So, do you know what I mean? So having an awareness, what are the signs that bowlers are getting fatigued? So let's go back to that's what we do. So question for you: recovery between spells.
I like that. I think that's where the money is, I reckon, where it comes to performance for a fast bowler. It's like how many fast bowlers do you know can bowl one gun spell? Heaps. I feel there's a lot of players across, like, let's say in Melbourne, who can bowl 3 or 4 overs of good heat and can challenge any batter in Victoria, no dramas. Top start of the day. But like, how many can, in their second spell, third spell, fourth spell? Those are the guys with the contracts. And I think, like, number one, your work is done in the preseason. So for the Australian guys listening to this, you need to get fit, you need to get strong, you need to build those habits into your lifestyle right now, because the fitter, strong you are, the more fit you're going to be on the field. So that's number one. Like, get your shit in order before the season starts. Don't get to the season and go like, oh crap, I can't bowl 2 spells at a fast. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing. And then in between spells, now let's get to and then obviously you maintain your strength work throughout the season. I think one of my biggest pet hates is where you see people do a good preseason, strong, fit, powerful, and then get to the season and then just completely disregard their gym work or keeping their fitness up. And it's like, you're fit and fine for round 1, but then you get to round 5 or 6 and you're a slower, weaker, less powerful, less fit version of yourself. And then by the time you get to when the finals are, you're even slower, more unfit, weaker, etc. And just by being a lesser version of yourself, you're going to fatigue more easily. So keeping those things going. But if you want to get into like the 1% of stuff, let's say in between, well, let's say you've done all that and you're fit and fine, ready to go in between spells for our like under 17s, under 19s, and that national championships. What in the heat, we could play with like an extra fielder, like 12 or 13. So you after your spell, you come off, go have like a freezing cold shower for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, cool your body temperature down, get your shirt on, have some water, hydrolytes, get some carbs in you, back out in the field. That's elite. But a lot of it comes down to like nutrition, hydration is number one, I feel like.
Yeah.
So refueling, rehydrating. I like the thing about it from a nutritional point of view is like you never want your fuel tank to go empty. You want to eat often or fuel often, but not too much. So you don't want to like have too much to get super, super heavy, but you just want little top ups, whether it's half a Gatorade, half a banana, or a few lollies and half a Gatorade, full sugar to keep topping up. They say about 30 grams of carbs per hour at least. So if you keep on topping up, that cricket works well because we stop for breaks. So drinks breaks, things like that. Gatorade at fine leg. What are some things that you've seen with that I've mentioned?
Well, most of them. And by the way, if Andrew, Hugo, David, if you've got any, these are the people on the call here. If you've got any questions, we're talking about the cost of fatigue on skill execution. So if you've got anything at all, then just pop through a question and we'll have a chat about it. So hydration tabs versus plain water.
Yeah.
So lots of people will choose the thing that tastes nice. And I agree with you. I think it's a real mix of stuff. It's a real mix of volume of water. It's a mix of getting the hydration tabs on board with the minerals, the salts, that kind of stuff. It's also a mix of a pint of milk at lunchtime or a natural break, because we know that milk has some amazing hydration qualities in it. The other thing that, again, this is all about skill execution as well as ball speeds, because when somebody's performing at their best, there's a bit of a threshold in ball speeds, but skill, seam presentation, lateral movement, we know is really important. You don't come across too many times those bowlers that just blast teams away through pace. Although we've got David on here, based in Ireland, he can bowl mid-80s, so he's got an opportunity to blow teams away. But how often does that happen? Not very often. So then it comes about skill. The kind of things in game. So I agree with everything that you've said. The kind of things in game that really gets on my wick and pisses me off are when bowlers are in the middle of a spell and there's a right and left-hander and they go down to fine leg, and then that same bowler's got a bowler next over has got to go from fine leg to fine leg if that right and left-hander batter are scoring singles. And so they're going from one corner of the field to the other. All of these things accumulate over time and add up to fatigue. Now the team are going to give that same bowler the ball to do a job for their team, but in the middle of all of that and in between all of that expectation, they're just getting more and more tired. So it's an awareness of, okay, what fielding position could that bowler field in where he does the least amount of running when he's not bowling? Do you know what I mean? So that's another one as well.
It helps as well with that one too. It helps if your bowlers bowl, off stump line, outside off when you're at fine leg, and don't drift onto the pads and you go chase balls to the boundary of a few balls. How much does that cook you?
Yeah, it would get me. Just bowl channel for an over. Let me have a rest for an over.
Please, that's all I'm asking.
What about what about the importance of the material of shirts. So let's say it's cracking flags. We're in the middle of a heat wave here in the UK. My garden is brown. I mean, it's now crying out for a bit of rain. But for the purposes of cricket, it's amazing. What about the importance of lightweight shirts?
I think
if we're looking at 1 or 2 percenters, the kit that players wear when it's hot or when we're expecting them to execute their skill. Talk to me about that.
I think it's massive. Like for example, like if I can relate this back to myself recently, because it's often hard. Sometimes you forget, what it's like to play and stuff like that. But like when like for my running and my half marathon training and that, like whenever I wear a particular shirt or something that's a bit heavier, you feel the sweat, like you feel get hot pretty quick. And the same goes for a cricketer. Like back in the day when you get those thick, shirts, like even woolen shirts and that, like just the heaviness and the heat stays in. Where I think thankfully now, like the breathable materials are so much nicer. If you can get as much airflow, get the heat, because the heat's trying to get off your body. So if we can have holes in the shirts and things like that are breathable to get the heat out of your body, out into the atmosphere, absolutely, it's heaven. It's what you needed. And then like I think even like people who wear the like lighter color, so people wearing black in there one day is a bit of disadvantage. Obviously, black attracts the heat. That's a little bit disadvantage there. But like even onto your point there, like if you can try and catch some shade at fine leg, or even like ice packs in the back of your neck.
Yeah.
And when you are off at tea break or something like that as well, in front of a fan, getting blood flow, it's just about thinking about what is the body trying to do? It's trying to get heat away from the body. So we need to cool areas that are sensitive at the back of the neck and things like that, and allow breathable air to leave your skin.
Yeah. These are often things that we forget to even consider. I mean, for some clubs, the quality of the shirts and stuff that they wear isn't really an option because it comes to affordability. We're in a privileged position to work with manufacturers, but again, Andrew was on here, Finnish Cricket Association. David's got a great question here, which we'll cover in a minute. Some people aren't in that privileged position, so I think that if they're in a position where they can swap sweaty shirts, because like you said, you mentioned what is fatigue. Well, it's the challenge of executing your skill, running in at your optimum pace, feeling springy, feeling light versus feeling heavy. But if you're sweating like a madman or girl, woman, you're getting heavier all the time, you're sweating, you're taking on fluids that can obviously replace that sweat and your salts and stuff, but that's getting you heavier as well. So to offset that fatigue, all of these things I think come into play. We've got some salty sweaters versus less salty sweaters as well. When the sports science medicine team do all of that, and the nutritionists, so they have slightly different kind of things in their drinks that they take on board as well. Just going back to what you said there, I've got a question here from David. He's in the middle of a T20 tournament at the moment. You mentioned the importance in Australia, you're in pre-season, right? What about mid-season? You mentioned keeping on top of their strength and freshness in season. What does that look like in season? Obviously, there's a heavy block pre-season. We all see it. But what does that look like in season for you? So let's say somebody's like David's in the middle of, he's just come off the back of 3 days of T20s. Let's say it's 2 T20s in a day, 3 days in a row, so 6 matches. And he's got another game on Sunday by the looks of this. What's your advice on recovery today and tomorrow in order to perform well on Sunday?
Yeah, great point. I think when in those phases, when you are playing like back-to-back games in tournament mode, it's number one thing is a principle I have is like keep the main thing the main thing. So the main thing, cricket, so let's prioritize cricket. Let's not add fatigue on top of that when there's no room for it. So with that, it's about when you're not playing cricket, managing your energy. So not going out for extra gym, extra running, etc. Stay low key, rest on the couch, let the body rest and recover. Sleep, number one, always number one. Get 8 hours sleep every single night. That's hands down the most important thing to recharge your batteries. Nutrition, hydration, it's high protein, it's good quality whole foods, it's non-processed foods, it's electrolytes, it's the fundamentals. And then when we have our nervous system has two systems. We have a fight or flight, which is, high stress, and then we have a rest and digest, which is like a lower stress environment. So if we're stressed from work or other things in life, that takes us away from resting and digesting and recovering. And that puts us into a state of breaking things down, fight or flight. So being in like a low stress environment and having strategies to decrease your own stress is a big rock. It's also underlooked as well. So that's massive too. And then those are like the big rocks of recovery, as well as some stretching and things like that. Those are the big rocks. Take care of those first. Like if you're going to put all your money towards something, put it towards that. And if you had a little bit left over, that's where things like, bless you, mate, you got your hot, cold baths. So contrast hydrotherapy, we got ourselves like saunas. It's like getting a massage. We got those recovery boots. Those things are great, but once you've taken care of the big rocks, for sure.
Yeah. The big rocks are the simple things you can, and also the free stuff.
Exactly.
That you can take care of yourself. Yeah. Okay. What about, so let's say that somebody's playing Saturday, Sunday, maybe train once in the week. Let's say it's Wednesday or Thursday, and then play again Saturday, Sunday. So again, going back to maintaining strength, in order to refresh from the weekend, to offset any fatigue. When would you say this is the time to get back into the gym to do some strength work?
So I'll go off the model in Australia that we have, which is Tuesday, Thursday training, play on Saturday. That's it. That's our main sort of model for club cricket. And like the same principle applies. If you play on Sunday, train Wednesday, Friday, like you just shift it down a day. How I like to do it, let's say you have a big game on Saturday, like your bowl, your 20 overs, whatever it is. Sunday rest. Monday will be in the gym, but I do 3 gym sessions throughout a week. Essentially, we'll do a small, a medium, and a big. Essentially, really, really simple. On the Monday will be more of a medium session. So we're looking at 2 sets per exercise, in and out within 45, 60 minutes. And then we're adjusting that based on how sore you are, how fatigued you are. And we can adjust that session. That session can be a little bit flexible too, where legs are really sore. We might change leg exercises to more recovery focused, or if you bounce pretty good, we can hit some good strength stuff there. That facilitates feeling good for a Tuesday training. And then as we roll into Wednesday, will be like our main big gym session. It's like 3 sets per exercise, let's say. Yeah. And then training, sharpen up. And then Friday, we'll do a Saturday morning before the game, we'll do like a primer gym session where it's like 20, 30 minutes, short, sharp, power-based stuff. Yeah. And that's how a weekly flow look like for the guys that I work with. And then if they needed some extra fitness, extra conditioning work, then we look to do that at the start of the week, maybe a bike session on a Monday to help facilitate recovery, or on that Tuesday night training after they bowl, some top up conditioning running as well. That's how a weekly schedule sort of look.
Yeah. Okay. And what about what about non-professionals and people that work? So again, play Saturday, Sunday, train once a week during the week, and then they play again Saturday, Sunday. Would you encourage that type of person to have in the middle of the week around their work, whether it's a morning session, early morning session, or an evening session after their daytime work? Would you say a medium gym session plus a heavier gym session, or what would you recommend for somebody like that?
Yeah, so I'll probably go like a medium session on a Tuesday and a big session on a Thursday or something like that. Yeah. I'll probably go that. And then my example as well was for guys who work as well. So these are the guys who like come see me in the gym. And so that's how I break that. I'd actually do it differently if it was a professional environment. I'd sort of have my gym and my bowling and everything all on the same day. And I'd maximize that. But I sort of try to, it's a bit unrealistic for that to happen. Like you're not going to go from cricket training to the gym afterwards. So I'd recommend that. That's why for the guys I work with in the UK at the moment, do gym Tuesday, Thursday around their Wednesday training, and then go into the weekend feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. And if someone does a gym session and they've gone and they get DOMs, would you say you don't want DOMs when you're trying to execute the skill, right? Whether that's training. So if they're only training once a week, that's got to be on point. It's got to be focused training. It's got to be precise. So if they're going into that training session tired, fatigued, muscles are aching, then they just need to dial down on that gym intensity. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, I'd say probably dial down the volume. Like the exercise, like in season for me, like exercise selection's massive too. So if you're trying to stay away from DOMs, you choose some exercises that don't have like a slow, like lowering phase per se, like an eccentric phase. And you want to choose exercises that are a bit more like short range of motion. So you can actually do quite a fair bit of volume and like not really get sore. And like the best way to not get sore from going to the gym is to just like always go to the gym. So no matter like how, like let's say for me, for example, go on the gym for ages, love it. Did a gym session yesterday with one of my clients and like zero soreness because I've been going to the gym for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So that's why it's being like really smart, knowing where you're at, knowing how much load you can handle, and then just do that. And just don't. I'd always say in season, just err on the side of doing less. Just do a little bit less. Because you actually can be really surprised. Like just to maintain your strength, it's bugger all. It's literally like one session a week. Two 30-minute sessions a week can maintain your strength. So you don't really need to do too much. Just I think it's always. I think with most things, like understand where you're at, what you can handle, and then don't let the ego get involved. Don't do too much. Just do the right amount, and that's why it's nice to like work with coaches too. Because like I know for me, like I love like training, and often people who like will come and seek work from us are people who love their cricket, dedicated to get better, hungry to push. But that's where it's like good to have a coach to go, no, you're just going to do 2 sets of these exercises, stick to the program, do it. Just trust me, you'll feel better if you're training tomorrow.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then the other side of it is take a look at the bigger picture of the season. Where are my opportunities to have a heavy gym? So you might have a weekend off, you might have a weekend away from competition. So then all of a sudden that is an opportunity to go slightly heavier, get a little bit sore, because you then got enough time to recover. But you're not just maintaining, then you're actually nudging yourself back up in terms of your strength, aren't you? And for me as a skills coach, this all comes down to, again, right, where we started this, the invisible cost of fatigue. Some people use it as an excuse to get the free stuff in place, your sleep, your nutrition, your hydration, get all those things in place. And and making sure that you're doing everything possible. If it's important, if it's not important to perform to a high level, actually, whoever's listening to this video, they won't do it because it's not important enough. But if it's really important, if it's really important to you to get selected every week and to perform really well for your team every week, then you get all those things in place. And then it's understanding. This is why I think the relationship between a skills coach and S&C coach has to be a strong one. They have to be kind of understanding each other. I will always come at it from they're not executing as accurate as they normally are. And then I will come to someone like yourself and say, right, what's their wellness scores? When was the last time they were in the gym? If they, how they come across to you, all this kind of stuff. And then you adapt to the program moving through. But the hidden cost, the fatigue, and like I say, technical inconsistencies can often be excuse for tiredness, and in some cases that is absolutely the case. So therefore, how have you looked to overcome that tiredness, and then just make those tweaks from there? And again, we would, I'm in a fortunate position to work with professionals, but actually I love, this is what the pros do. They don't always do it very well, by the way, and you've had experience that. What does that look like for your amateur club cricketer as well, that really wants to perform well? I always enjoy looking at that whole spectrum, really.
There's more challenges with the club cricketer because you've got to balance school, work, hopefully if it's a junior, another sport as well. So there's so much going on to how I look at it is like building a perfect training week every single week is a nice way to think about it. It's like, cool, well, this week coming up, we have the information of what's been going on. Let's build the perfect week to get you better and maximize recovery and performance this week. Then we get another week of information. It's like, cool, let's look again. Let's look further again, just a week at a time. Alrighty, what's the perfect week to get the most out of you this week? And then it's like having that long-term vision of mind on where we want to go, have that as like our light to work towards, but then work in the micro of being like, all right, let's get this now this week. Let's now this week. Let's now this week. And I think, it's really important to keep the main thing as well. So like, if your main thing is taking wickets, then like, don't let your gym stop you from taking wickets. That's the most important thing. Use the gym to help complement taking wickets, which in some phases of the year that would be doing more gym. Some phases of the year that would be doing like less gym. And that's where it's about being really, really smart around when to do what and how much to do of gym or running or bowling or whatever it is at the right times.
So sometimes you dial down on the gym and you increase mobility. So take David here, for instance, who's just on the back of this 3 days of T20. You're dialing down on lifting the weights, but dialing up your stretching, your mobility. And there's always, if you have a look at the bigger picture, there's always those opportunities somewhere. Where is the threat? If I don't get this in place, there's a chance I'm going to go ping. If I don't dial down there, I'm not going to be fresh, but actually there's an opportunity there. Even going away on holiday doesn't necessarily mean, if you're going away on holiday for 10 days, 2 weeks, bloody maintain stuff. You might not be bowling, but get yourself in the gym, do those, 1 or 2 runs every week sort of thing to maintain even whilst you're not bowling. There's some proper old school thinking about there. This is where I love in this day and age, the gym is also part of a bowling session. That's how I always look at it. So everything, a bowler doing stuff in the gym, for the majority of what they do, is linked to their bowling action and their performance. It's not separate. So it doesn't matter what level people are playing. If they have that, the gym session is a part of a bowling session. They might not be delivering a ball, but it is going towards them being able to really accurately and consistently sort of thing.
It's like it's like baking a cake, isn't it? It's like everything, all the ingredients matter, don't they? Like obviously you might have, more flour than milk or eggs or whatever it is, but like you got to find the right mix of everything to bake the cake.
Yeah. Nice one. Next week I've got all sorts of things I'd love to cover with you. How we don't talk about it now, but how mobility work impacts on a bowler's feel for when they're bowling. Force equals function. Understanding ground reaction force is a game changer.
The backfoot stuff as well.
Yeah. So we'll continue doing this. David, no problem. He's just thankful for that. Andrew, how are you doing? Well, I think we'll have to call this a day now. Seb's just about to come down, but
here he comes.
High Performance Cricket. If you want to connect with this guy, make sure you do. This video will be going out to my blog subscribers. But High Performance Cricket, always a pleasure catching up, and I look forward to next week. So we go back to Thursday next week.
Awesome, mate.
It was that late night on Wednesday night. I just needed an extra cushion of 45 minutes in bed. Mate,
we preach it on here, so we have to live it, mate. We got to, if you need to get to sleep, the sleep's the most important thing in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. All right, mate. Nice one. Good to catch up with you as always.
Legend Barnesy, mate. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Catch you later. Cheers.
See you, mate.